Welcome to the.
Dpad cat.
Are we going back and forth and saying the name?
Are we gonna go Beastie Boys? Welcome.
No, we're not doing that. Not at all. So, welcome to the Dpad podcast about games and stuff. I'm one of your hosts, Santos.
Hi, I'm Danny. I'm the other guy.
So, this is like kind of an introductory podcast of kind of like things we want to do in the future. They've got a few series like bubbling in our brains as such, and we're
Yeah,
just introducing ourselves. Hi.
yeah. Hello. Yeah, we do have a few ideas. We are still working out the specifics and names and all that fun stuff. But it seems so far we've got two ideas that we want to kind of mess around with and see how that works out.
Yeah.
Do you want to
So
get into it?
Yeah, so the first one we're going to kind of do is a podcast of like kind of our pile of shame per se, where games that we've wanted to play in the past, but we never quite got to playing them because maybe something more popular came out, or
Or you're a broke ass like high school kid?
so that's our first idea, and we'll keep the game a surprise right now, but we'll do kind of a demo podcast and see how it works out. Hopefully, that should be coming soonish.
Oh well, we gave ourselves what a 2 week goal in mind.
Correct. So hopefully we can get that done. I mean, we're in a quarantine right now, but so we're not really doing anything anyway. So
I don't know. You seem to think I'm very popular and
I
busy.
know, man. Did your grandma get that flashlight yet? Did she get the
Nah,
flashlight?
Grams is still looking for that
Oh,
flashlight.
terrible. Graham's just like wandering into his house right now, guys. She doesn't have a flashlight. This is very tragic.
Legend has it she's still searching today.
The Legend of Grams. There's a game
uh,
of movie in there somewhere, guys.
but yeah, no, I have there are a few games in my list that I've always wanted to play that I
Yeah,
do actually own, but I tend to procrastinate as one does.
it's true. So
But
we
this
think,
would be a perfect opportunity to just catch up on some old backlog.
right. So we're trying to keep it like more retro. So thinking maybe like Dreamcast and below.
Mhm. And it could be games that were in the zeitgeist, that they were very popular during the time, or it could be just like a little indie like sleeper hits that never caught traction during those times.
Correct.
It'll be interesting to see. I also have some Super Famicom games that I have unofficial English translations for, which uh, eventually I'll get to. Maybe this will be the perfect time to get into that.
So that's our idea. So hopefully you'll come back and listen and smash that like button or subscribe on that thing or press the bell notification. I don't know. What do the YouTubers do these days? I don't know.
I
Slam
don't
the like
know.
button.
Do the thing. Just go and do the thing, please.
Yes. All right. So on a side note, which is gonna be I should just be the name of the podcast, the side note.
The side note, I like it.
So I was playing Dead by Daylight because my friend wanted to play it. He's like, "Oh, it's a horror game. It's gonna be great." I'm like, "Cool." So, fortunately for me, it's on Game Pass, so I didn't have to pay for it. So I download it, and then like you look at the roster, and the roster has like a lot of like super popular movie monsters, right? Like Freddy Krueger and Michael Myers.
Hmm.
Right. So, all right, cool. So we boot up the game. They had like this bootleg because before they had the license, they had like the bootleg characters, right? So they have like bootleg dude from Leatherface from like Chainsaw Massacre, just like a redneck with a chainsaw. And you're like, oh, it's like the butcher or something like that. I'm like, yeah, totally not copyright infringement. So my main problem with the game is that like my friends brought it up like this feels like a mod. I'm like, it kind of does feel like a mod because I should probably describe how the game works that so you understand. I mean, you understand, but people who have never played the game probably won't
Right,
understand.
right.
Is that the lore is actually pretty interesting. Basically, the lore is that people are put in some kind of limbo, forced to fight monsters and escape or either get killed to sacrifice to this god called the Entity, I think it's called.
Hmm.
And they're like in this cycle. So if they die, they come back and they get tortured again. And the Entity, they kind of eats their souls and stuff like that. But in the actual game, all you do is like door that's at the end of the level. To do such, you have to. There's like I think 4 generators on the map, maybe 5. I don't remember the exact count. All you have to like turn the generators on, press a button, and the door opens and you leave. That's the
Right.
entire concept of the game, right?
And one of the things that I feel you should mention as well is it's both a first person and a third person game.
I think the monsters in
First
first
person,
person,
correct. And then
and
as a third, as a survivor, you are third person. So you have option. You have uh, more visuals afforded to you to try to escape and juke away from the monster. So you're basically essentially playing hide and go seek. And if you are the monster, you whatever you see in front of you is what you see.
yeah, and all the monsters have kind of like attributes or powers.
Right? They have hero abilities or
Correct.
villain abilities.
I forgot what they call it, but like for instance, like Freddy Krueger, you can put people to sleep and he becomes more powerful or something like that. The monster from Stranger Things is there, and it can like put portals on the ground.
The Demogorgon.
The Demogorgon, yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem is for me, and everybody was like, but this is like, but fundamentally, all you're doing is turning on generators.
Right.
So it's like if you go like Haddonfield's in there from Halloween, but there's generators there, and you got to turn on generators. And you're like, it just feels like a fan mod that they keep bolting stuff on instead of like, hey, we're gonna make this game. This maybe we should do something different for like Freddy Krueger,
Right.
but they
It.
don't. It's just the exact same.
I see the appeal to it. It in theory it sounds like a lot of fun, but the actions you have to take in order to win the game seem very just not well designed, not well thought out.
Well, the learning curve is super deep. Maybe if I like took time to like learn it and like understand how to like the powers play out, because each survivor also has kind of an ability. There's like this
Hmm.
web that of abilities you can unlock between the villains and the heroes. And if I took time to maybe learn that system, I would probably like maybe like it better. But ain't nobody got time for that, right? I'm like I'm playing. I'm like, and nobody like the factor of this monster coming at you is kind of scary.
So let
But
me ask you, correct me if I'm wrong, as a person who paid for the Kickstarter for Friday the 13th, yes,
yes,
yes. How does it compare?
I think I mean both of them will get kind of boring quick because they both have the same mechanics.
Right.
But Friday the 13th is a little bit easier to get used to just because the objectives make more sense. Like
Hmm.
you have to get gas for the car, or you can like turn on the telephone so the cops come, like stuff like that. So
Hmm.
I mean, but there's different Jasons in there, which is cool. Like it's a
Yes.
love letter to Jason just because like every single iteration of Jason is there, even
Even the NES
the,
one.
the NES version of him
Oh,
and
I love it.
and there's like a new Jason that Tom Savini made for specifically for the game,
Oh, that's
who
cool.
looks like
I did.
Hellscape
I
Jason.
didn't know that. I didn't.
Yeah. So like,
Mhm.
oh, we can get together to like do this and then do that, and then we get a car and you can drive away, stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. You don't have any other movie monsters to leverage, right? So
Right.
that's all you're gonna get. And you would think that like Dead by Daylight would try to like change up the formula a little bit
Hmm.
in terms of, like if I got Freddy Krueger, how can we make a level around Freddy Krueger as a core mechanic?
Right.
I just felt for the amount of like money they've clearly paid or got to get all these licenses to put in the game, it seems almost like a pro like mod, right?
Right.
So it's like that game is like super love letter to Friday the 13th, and then you have like Dead by Daylight. I mean, clearly like horror movies, but like when I'm playing Freddy, I'm not necessarily like I don't feel like oh well, they really know what Freddy's about because they can't really. I mean, put people to sleep and that's about it. Well, the weird reboot version of Freddy's in
Right.
Dead by
Right.
Daylight. I think it's like a little bit different than like say if you see the video games like when like Mortal Kombat 11 got RoboCop and they got Terminator, and they clearly know those characters because
Hmm.
they make a comment about how they were both like they've seen each other before because they
Hmm.
had those comic books in the video game Terminator versus RoboCop. It's actually pretty funny.
Huh.
And who knew that Mortal Kombat would become like an adult Smash Brothers? Who knew?
Adult Smash Brothers.
It is
Uh,
really like
you,
if you
you
took all those characters and like put them in a game by themselves without all the Mortal Kombat characters, people would buy the hell out of it,
you're not wrong.
right? I don't know if they want like Ninja Turtles getting their heads ripped off, but
I mean, to be fair, wasn't TMNT in its inception the black and white comics weren't? Wasn't it very
yeah,
dark?
it was very dark. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if it, but it's different between like they're not dark anymore.
No.
So
No. 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 It's funny seeing that transition because I mean I grew up with the cartoon back in the late 80s, early 90s.
correct.
Um,
and it's super bubbly, and they're all happy.
Yeah,
You know, like cowabunga and pizzas and shit like that.
pizza. Mm.
Pizza time. Fuck, that's such a good video game too.
Ah, jeez, yeah.
I remember.
Uh,
Anyway, going back to Dead by Daylight,
Dead by Daylight,
it
yes.
was just like I feel like don't buy it. If
don't
you
don't buy it.
don't buy it, get it on the Game Pass, play it for free. Like if you're a horror fan, but don't
would you
expect
say
much from it.
would you say it's like the difference between Left 4 Dead and World War Z?
Actually,
Or
World War Z is pretty good.
I mean, it is, but I mean, and
It's surprisingly good.
I actually should play more of that. I didn't get very far.
Actually, I was actually surprised. We played that. We played World War Z after we played Dead by Daylight. I'm like, wow, like this is pretty good. Like the menus are well thought out. Like, I mean, clearly they took Left 4 Dead, made it third person, right?
Right.
And but there's a little complexity there. You have like character classes that you can pick and level up, different characters. You have different regions. It kind of follows the books slash movies, but they also like it. And there's certain parts when you like turn that corner and you see like all those zombies kind of like waving like they do in the movie, and you're like,
Yeah,
holy
yeah.
crap!
Did they actually do that in the books though?
Yeah. Well, do they? Yeah, sort of, kind of. There's a. If I have to read this, I haven't read that book in forever. But it's like
It's
there's
it's
a
been
the
a it's
battle
been
of
a hot minute too.
the Battle of Yonkers. I believe it's supposed to be like that, like waves and the waves of like zombies coming forward. They
Right.
didn't they didn't climb on each other like they did in the movie because that's just stupid. But it's kind of stupid and like cool at the same time. Like, oh, it's just like, oh, no, damn, they're gonna get us.
Right. The
I
the
mean,
the only two stories that I remember from the book is I think it takes place in India, and the dude like runs into the water trying to get to one of the ships, and he's losing his energy trying to swim and not get caught by the zombies on the waterbed,
I don't
and
remember.
and he starts sinking, and then he feels arms grabbing him, and he's like, "This is it," but then it's actually like the people in the ship and the boats, like they pull him out,
That'd
or
make it.
or
Sorry, go
the
ahead.
no, you're good. Or the story of like this family going to the local church, and there's like this little girl who gets separated once hell breaks loose, and she was like by herself for years as a little kid, so she never like fully developed um, uh, any maturity, for lack of a better
Mhm.
term, because she was by herself. She was basically not feral, but she never developed past a certain point. Um, but she managed to survive for years. So they interviewed her, and that's those are the only two stories that I remember.
I read that book in forever.
I should read that again.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, don't play Dead by Daylight. I want you to be that. I want you to be that only the only takeaway of this. Even if you never listen to any more of our podcasts, don't play
just don't
Dead by Daylight.
just don't do it.
Just don't do it. Just don't.
Play World War Z instead.
Yeah, actually, it's pretty good. You can probably get it for cheap. I'll put the caveat that I think if you put enough time into it, you can probably get into it. But it did feel kind of like a mod that somehow turned into like an actual like game. Became a boy like Pinocchio. It's
Hmm.
a real boy now. Look, it's a real game. I mean, it does have Ash Williams in it, so
Does it?
it also has Bill too from Left 4 Dead.
Huh.
True story. Anyway, I think that's enough for our intro podcast.
Yeah. We look forward to.
Unless you want to go on a tangent of some sort.
I think I'm good right now.
All right, cool.
No, it's just nice to finally get something down on recording.
So I hope you enjoyed this podcast and found it entertaining. You don't download Dead by Daylight, and that you come back for future installments of whatever the hell thing we're trying to do here. Thank you for listening, and we out.
Peace.